Someone insults you, and you don't react. Not because you didn't hear it, not because it didn't register, but because you decided their words don't control your nervous system. And in that moment of absolute calm, something shifts in their eyes. Confusion, then panic. Then fear, because a man who can't be provoked is a man who can't be controlled. And people fear what they can't control more than anything they can. You've seen this happen. The moment you stopped reacting, everything changed. Not what they did, what they felt about you. The insult that used to get a rise out of you now hits a wall of silence. The provocation that used to work now disappears into nothing. The manipulation that used to hook you now slides off like water off stone, and they don't know what to do with that. So they escalate, they push harder, they try different angles, because your calm is more threatening than any anger you could express. This isn't about being passive. This isn't about letting people walk over you. This is about something far more dangerous. Emotional invulnerability. And it terrifies people who've spent their entire lives controlling others through emotional reactions. Let me show you what actually happens when you stop reacting. The psychology behind it, the power it creates, and why dangerous calm is the most threatening thing you can possess. Most people are emotional puppets. Pull the right string, get the predicted response. Insult their ego, watch them defend. Question their competence, watch them prove themselves. Challenge their authority, watch them assert dominance. Ignore them, watch them seek attention. Predictable, controllable, manageable. But you're not playing that game anymore. You stopped reacting, and that broke their entire playbook. See, emotional reactions are currency in social dynamics. People trade in reactions. They say something to get something back. The reaction confirms their power. The emotional response validates their impact. Your anger proves they got to you. Your defensiveness proves they threatened you. Your explanation proves they made you uncertain. But when you don't react, you don't give them anything. No confirmation, no validation, no proof of impact. Just silence, just calm, just nothing. And nothing is the most unsettling response a human can encounter, because it means they're irrelevant. Their words don't matter. Their provocations don't land. Their manipulation doesn't work. They're powerless. And watching someone realize they're powerless over you, that's when the fear starts. Here's what's actually happening in your brain when you stop reacting. Your amygdala, the part responsible for emotional reactions, it still fires. The insult still registers as threat. The provocation still triggers the initial response. But something else happens that doesn't happen in most people. Your prefrontal cortex, the executive function center, intercepts the signal before it becomes reaction. It creates a gap, a space between stimulus and response. And in that space, you choose, not suppress, not avoid. Choose. You feel the anger. You acknowledge it. And you decide it's not useful. You feel the defensiveness. You notice it. And you decide it's not strategic. You feel the urge to prove yourself. You observe it, and you decide it's not necessary. This is emotional mastery, not emotional suppression. Most people can't tell the difference. They think if you're not reacting, you're not feeling. But you're feeling everything. You're just not giving it permission to control you. And that level of self-regulation, that gap between stimulus and response, that's what creates dangerous calm. The kind that makes people nervous without you saying a word. Let me show you what happens in real time when you stop reacting. Scenario 1. Someone insults you publicly. Everyone's watching, waiting for your response. The old you would have defended. Explained, countered, proven them wrong, asserted dominance. But you don't. You just look at them. No expression, no emotion, no reaction. Just observation, and the room gets uncomfortable. Not because you're aggressive, because you're absent. The expected dance didn't happen. The social script was broken. And everyone can feel that something's wrong. Not with you. With the person who just realized their words have no power. They try again. Harder this time. More direct, more personal. And you still don't react. Maybe you smile slightly. Maybe you nod. Maybe you say, "Interesting perspective," and move on. And now they're panicking. Because every escalation that gets no reaction makes them look more desperate, makes them look like they're trying too hard, makes them look weak. Your calm is crushing them. Not through aggression, through absence of reaction. Scenario 2. Someone tries to manipulate you emotionally. Guilt, shame, fear. The tools that work on most people. They tell you you're being cold, you're being unreasonable, you're being difficult. You would have explained, justified, defended your position, proven you're not what they're accusing you of, but you don't. You just let the accusation sit there. You don't accept it, you don't reject it. You just observe it like weather passing through, and they don't know what to do. Because emotional manipulation requires participation. It requires you to feel the guilt, the shame, the fear, but you're not participating. You're just watching them try. And watching someone try to manipulate you while remaining completely calm is the most powerful position you can occupy, because it shows them you see exactly what they're doing, and it doesn't work on you. Scenario 3. Someone tries to provoke you into a reaction so they can play victim. They push, they prod. They say things designed to make you angry, so when you react, they can point to your anger and say, "See how aggressive he is." This is the oldest manipulation in the book. Provoke a reaction, then use the reaction as evidence of the other person's character. But you don't react. You stay calm, you stay composed, you stay in control, and now they have nothing. No reaction to point to, no anger to weaponize, no outburst to use as evidence, just their own provocation hanging in the air with no response. And everyone watching sees exactly what happened. They tried to trigger you, and you didn't give them what they wanted. You're not the problem. They are. Your calm just exposed them. Here's why this is so threatening. In every social interaction, there's a power dynamic. And power goes to whoever controls the emotional frame. If they can make you angry, they control the frame. If they can make you defensive, they control the narrative. If they can make you react, they control you. But if you don't react, you control everything. Because your calm sets the temperature. Your composure sets the standard. Your self-regulation becomes the benchmark everyone else is measured against. And people who can't regulate themselves hate being around people who can. Because the contrast is unbearable. Their chaos next to your calm, their reactivity next to your control, their emotional incontinence next to your discipline. They look weak, and they know it. So they either avoid you or try harder to break you. Because if they can make you react, they prove you're not actually in control. They prove you're just like them, but you're not. And the longer you stay calm, the clearer that becomes. Let me tell you what dangerous calm actually is. It's not the absence of emotion. It's the presence of choice. It's feeling everything and choosing what gets expression. It's being provoked and choosing whether to engage. It's being insulted and choosing whether it matters. Most people are reactive. Stimulus in, reaction out. No gap, no choice, no control. They're at the mercy of whatever someone says or does to them. Their emotional state is controlled by external input. But you've created the gap, the space between what happens and how you respond. And in that gap lives all your power. You're not suppressing emotions. You're choosing them. You're not avoiding conflict. You're deciding if it's worth your energy. You're not being passive. You're being selective. And selective engagement is far more threatening than constant reactivity because it means you're operating strategically. You're not emotional. You're calculated. You're not impulsive. You're intentional. And calculated, intentional men are the most dangerous kind. Here's what people don't understand about men who don't react. They think you don't care. But you care deeply. You just don't care about the things they're using to try to control you. You don't care about their opinion. You don't care about their approval. You don't care about their provocation. You care about your mission, your purpose, your standards, your values, and anything that doesn't serve those, you don't react to. Not because it doesn't register, but but because it's irrelevant. And that prioritization, that ability to dismiss what doesn't matter, that's what creates the dangerous calm. You're not reacting because you've decided their provocation isn't worth the energy it would take to respond. And that dismissal, that casual disregard for their attempt to control you, that's more insulting than any comeback you could give. When you stop reacting, three things happen. 1. Manipulative people avoid you. They can't get what they need from you. No emotional reaction, no validation of their impact, no confirmation of their power. So they move on to easier targets. People who still react predictably. 2. Respect increases. People who have self-control recognize it in others. They see your calm under pressure and respect it, not because you're aggressive, but because you're in control, and control is rare. 3. You become unreachable, not physically, emotionally. People can't get to you through provocation, can't manipulate you through guilt, can't control you through fear. You're operating from a place they can't access, and that makes you dangerous. The moment you stop reacting, you stop being controllable. And uncontrollable people terrify those who've spent their lives controlling others through emotional manipulation. Here's the truth about dangerous calm. It's not a tactic. It's not a performance. It's genuine mastery of your own nervous system. It's the ability to feel intense emotions and not be ruled by them. To be provoked and choose not to engage. To be insulted and decide it's irrelevant. Most people will never develop this. They'll spend their entire lives being emotional puppets, reacting to everything, controlled by everyone, at the mercy of whatever someone says or does. But you're different. You stopped reacting, and in that moment, you became dangerous. Not because you're aggressive, but because you're calm. And calm, self-regulated men are impossible to control, and people fear what they can't control. If you've stopped reacting and watched people start fearing you for it, drop unmoved in the comments, not to brag, but so others who've mastered dangerous. Calm know they're not alone, because the moment you stop reacting, everything changes. Not what they do, what they fear. Stay calm, stay controlled. Let them fear the silence.